angiofibroma. What do you mean by angiofibroma? Angiofibroma is a full term is juvenile nasopharyngeal angiofibroma, which in short form we can say JNA. JNA. Now, let's segregate the term. What do you mean by juvenile? It means the age group of 10 to 20 years. What do you mean by nasopharyngeal? Means the tumor that lies into the area nasopharynx. And what do you mean by angiofibroma? So let's segregate this. Angio, it means the tumor which is around the blood vessels. Angio itself suggests blood vessels related to somewhere blood vessels. So what do you mean by fibroma? That means the tumor consisting of the fibrous tissue. What do you mean by uma? Uma means any of the mass. So by the term we know that it is a tumor which is mainly involving the blood vessels and the fibrous tissue residing into the nasopharynx. It is a benign disease but locally invasive. That means the tumor starts suppose into the nasopharyngeal area, then it will spread locally into the nasal cavity, into the maxillary sinus, or we can say ethmoidal or frontal sinuses, locally invasive, and by the pressure effect it can also thin out the bony outlines and may invade the other fossa or the other structures. It is a rare but most common benign tumor of the nasopharynx. Point to be remembered. Now, this tumor, it happens only into the males, never in the females, because somewhere genetically this tumor is related to the testosterone dependent, okay, arising from some sort of hematomatous nidus. It is a testosterone dependent, always happening into the males. And what is the age group which is involving? It involves a young males at the age group of the 10 to 20 years, that is age group of puberty, or we can say second decade. Now, what is the most common site of the JNA arising? That is a sphenopalatine foramen. Very important examination question. And again, one more important examination question. The blood supply mainly derived from the maxillary artery. Let's understand this by means of a diagram. So, look at this diagram. Suppose this is the outer border of the nose. If we enter into the nose, we can see the maxillary sinus here, okay, and beneath the maxillary sinus this turns out to be the palatine bone. This is a diagram showing the lateral wall of the nose. So maxillary sinus, then comes the palatine bone, and then comes the sphenoid part, that is a pterygoid plates. Now, the sphenopalatine foramen, it arises, or the location is into the lateral wall of the nose at the junction of the sphenoid bone, that is a pterygoid place, and the palatine bone. So it is somewhere this junction. Okay, so this is the sphenopalatine foramen, and this is most common site of arising of the JNA. And in this sinus, beneath this, or we can say lateral to this sinus, lies the pterygomaxillary fossa. I'll explain you. Suppose this is the nasal cavity, and here comes our maxillary sinus into a cheek wall, and this turns out to be the anterior wall, and this is the posterior wall. This is maxillary sinus. And posterior wall of the maxillary sinus, posterior to that lies the pterygoid plate. So the area between the posterior wall of the maxillary sinus and the pterygoid plate is the sphenopalatine fossa, or we can say pterygomaxillary fossa. And from this area, the sphenopalatine foramen that enters into the nasal cavity through the lateral wall of the nose, and from this side JNA most commonly arises. So what is the name of this fossa? We can say sphenopalatine fossa. Okay, so now try to understand the anatomy. The maxillary sinus posterior wall and the pterygoid plates anterior wall. Between them is the fossa, which is known as the sphenopalatine fossa, and it enters medially into the nose. Okay, suppose this is the fossa behind our cheeks, and when it will enter into the nose, so there is a foramen which is known as the sphenopalatine fossa, which you can see in the diagram, from which JNA arises most commonly, and the which is the feeder of this JNA most commonly, it is maxillary artery. We all know nasal cavity is supplied by the two arteries, that is the branches of the internal carotid artery and the branches of the external carotid artery. Maxillary artery is a direct branch of external carotid artery which localizes into this sphenopalatine fossa, and from where this JNA derives its blood supply mainly. Okay. What will be the clinical features? The patient will present with a recurrent epistaxis, initially unilateral nasal obstruction followed by the bilateral nasal obstruction if the tumor grows into the size. And what happens, because of the blockage of the eustachian tube, the patient will have glue ear or the conductive hearing loss into the same side of the ear. Because of blockage of the eustachian tube, there will not be any drainage of the middle ear secretions into the nasopharynx, leading to collection of the secretions into the ear, and that will result in conductive hearing loss. Okay. This is a clinical photo showing the how the JNA appears. You can see the tumor mass pinkish in color with the multiple digitations like formation presenting or into the nose, and you can see the boy here with the diagram. We can see some sort of mass into the nostrils, and just try to look at this area. We can see there is some fullness into the nasal bridge. This fullness is because of the pressure effect given by this tumor mass over the dorsum of the nose, or we can say over the cheeks. Now, JNA firstly spread medially, that is into the nasal cavity, then spread laterally into the sphenopalatine fossa. If it pushes the eye anteriorly, so there will be proptosis, that is a pushing of the eye anteriorly. It goes into the infratemporal fossa, that will result in swelling of the cheek, that is cheek will also become prominent, giving an appearance called as the frog faces. How does the frog faces appear? We all know frog is having big eyes with the big cheeks. That is the prominent cheeks, and JNA exactly the same pictures occur. The eyeball become prominent or comes out looking like a frog faces appearance, because the cheek will also become prominent. So this is an examination question. Clinical examination, what we'll do, we will do the anterior rhinoscopy or the posterior rhinoscopy. What we will see a globular pinkish color mask which is completely filling the nasopharynx, nasal cavity or the sinuses. Probe test or the digital palpation of the tumor is absolutely contraindicated, and no biopsy is allowed. Why biopsy is contraindicated? This tumor is having only the endothelial layer. No muscle layer. Into the blood vessels. So what happens? Because of absence of the muscular layer, whenever any bleeding occurs, so there will be no muscle, no contraction of the blood vessels, so bleeding will continuously goes on. Whereas in the normal individual, because of the muscular layer, whenever there is any bleeding, this muscle will get contract, resulting in stoppage of the blood. So that's why JNA biopsy is strictly contraindicated. If you punch out some tissue, there will be profuse bleeding. Plain X-ray got a limited role, so contrast enhanced CT scan is the investigation of the choice in the JNA. Again, examination question. Now you can look out at this diagram. This is a diagram of the nose and the paranasal sinuses. Pictures are taken from the front. Okay, we can say the coronal section. In this section, you can see this is the nasal cavity. The tumor is filling complete nasal cavity over the left side. You can see the nasal mass, and it is also going into the sphenopalatine fossa. This is a sphenopalatine fossa which is behind maxillary sinus, and this is supposed to be sphenopalatine foramen from which this tumor comes out into the nasal cavity. Now what happens whenever this tumor is filling the sphenopalatine fossa? It will put a pressure effect on the posterior wall of maxillary sinus, because this posterior wall of the maxillary sinus is basically the anterior wall of sphenopalatine fossa. So any tumor behind this will push this wall ahead, that is anteriorly, and this will give an appearance like anterior bowing of posterior wall of maxillary sinus, which is known as antral sign or Holman-Miller sign. It is an examination question. Now, what is the role of angiography? JNA diagnosis, confirmatory investigation is also angiography. Angiography also help in treatment of the JNA by the procedure known as embolization. What we do, we inject some embolizing agent into the feeding blood vessels of JNA that will result in decreased vascularity of the JNA. Thus, it plays an important role in the treatment of the JNA. And angiography also provide information on the specific blood supply of the tumor. We can see the tumor is arising from, or tumor is getting its vascularity from internal carotid branches or external carotid branches. So that way it is also helpful. So angiography helpful in treatment plus diagnosis. So what is the treatment? The treatment of choice is surgery with pre-embolization. That means we do the embolization 1 to 2 days before the surgery, that is 24 to 48 hours before surgery, and that will result in the less vascularity, and then we can easily remove this tumor without much of the blood loss. What are the role of the radiotherapy? The treatment of choice is surgery, that we have already discussed. But if this tumor grows into the brain, that means intracranial involvement, or tumor is having multiple recurrences, we have done the surgery 2-3 times in the past, but still tumor is getting recur again and again, or tumor is extended to such an extent that we can resect that tumor completely. In these cases, radiotherapy plays an important role, and we advise the patient to go for the radiotherapy. One more condition is that tumor is getting its direct blood supply from the internal carotid artery. We all know we can't ligate internal carotid artery. So in that case, radiotherapy is helpful. What are the hormonal therapy? Diethylestylbestrol with the flutamide. We can use these drugs as it is a testosterone dependent tumor. So these drugs will act as over the testosterone receptors, and thus decreases the angiogenesis of the tumor. If we have the residual or recurrent disease, we can also opt for the chemotherapy. The choice of drugs are doxorubicin, vincristine, or the dacarbazine. Okay, now we will discuss a question. If 14-year-old boy presented with a repeated torrential epistaxis and a swelling in the cheek, the patient is of 10 to 20 years of the age group, presenting with the nasal bleed, and he is a boy with a swelling in the cheek, we will think of nasopharyngeal angiofibroma. So look out at the option. The examination want to ask which of the following statements are correct. So my option A is diagnosis is nasopharyngeal angiofibroma. Yes, it is correct. Next option is CECT should be done to see the extent. Yes, absolutely correct. It is an investigation of choice. Option number 3 is high propensity to spread via lymphatics. No. This tumor is always spread by the blood vessels or the vascular route, as the name itself suggests, of NGO. So this is the wrong option. Option number 4 arises from roof of the nose. Again wrong, because it arises from the sphenopalatine foramen, which lies somewhere into the floor, not over the roof. Now the last option is surgery is therapy of choice. Yes. Surgery with pre-operative embolization is the treatment of the choice. Thank you.